What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. We'll call it Talking Elite Fitness After Dark because we're recording
Ooh.
this late on a Wednesday evening. Both Tommy and Lauren
It's
are,
Thursday morning for us.
yeah, it's past midnight for you guys. Tommy is in
Mhm.
Indianapolis and Lauren is in her domicile and outside of Syracuse, New York. I'm the only guy who's not in Thursday yet. I'm on the West Coast, so it's still just 9 p.m. my time, but it's late. We're going to get through this. We got a lot to talk about. First of all, how's everyone doing? Lauren, how are you?
I'm great. Tommy and I switched spots. He's in a hotel room
Mhm.
with the good old internet of the hotel.
Yeah, it's a weird, Freaky Friday. We swapped spots.
Yeah. Tommy will be participating in the first ever World Fitness Project event in
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Indianapolis, be in the booth calling the action with our good friend Jeremy Austin.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be fun. Looking forward to watching that. We're going to talk about that whole thing later because that's probably one of the biggest things that's going on coming up this weekend. We've got a lot of stuff that's happened this past week with the semifinals, some news around athletes, things like that we're going to get to. But before we jump into any of that, we want to thank our sponsor for today, and that is Creatures of Habit. If you guys are looking for just a quick, great, nutritious, fast, good meal, check out Creatures of Habits instant oats called Meal One, popping it up on the screen right there. See you in health. And there's a good reason why that is their tagline, because every package of this oatmeal, which by the way, comes in different flavors, and I'm eating it every day and I love it, has 3 grams of protein. It's a massive time saver. It takes literally like a minute to make. You just pour water in or whatever your sort of mixer of choice is, stir it up, put it in the fridge, forget about it. Next day, you're ready to go. Great taste. I mean, the maple one is fantastic. They've got they have strawberry, vanilla. They got like some other, peanut butter, banana. They got some really great flavors, man.
7 different flavors to choose from.
Ooh,
Strawberry walnut.
that's it. Strawberry walnut. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can add
So
some fresh fruit, some
press it up.
berries, a little bit of almond butter.
Mm.
Mm.
Use
And
some,
look, go ahead.
use
Well,
some Fairlife. I would say use some Fairlife milk if you like a little extra protein, and no lactose for those of you that get bubble guts from the dairy. So
there you go.
Bubble guts.
don't
It
want
has.
the.
Well, the good thing is too, it has super clean ingredients because it was developed with your health, performance, and taste buds in mind. So you can feel great about all the choices that they've made to support lean muscle growth, increased recovery, and a happy, Tommy just mentioned it, gut. Head to creaturesofhabit.com. That's creatures with a K of habit.com. Use our code TEF. You're going to save 20%. You got blueberry banana, apple cinnamon. That's another really good one.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
another
that one's
banger.
Peanut
Yeah.
fire.
butter banana,
Mhm.
maple caramel, vanilla, plain
My
old
mouth
vanilla.
is watering. I can't
That's
wait
that
for
Sean,
Monday.
or is that Sean's favorite?
Dude, I love. Yeah, you know why? Because you can add so much to it. Put some
Yeah,
peanut butter in there. Put a little bit of
that's true.
chocolate. Fantastic. Creaturesofhabit.com. They make a great product. I'm going to put the QR code back on the screen. So for those of you who are watching it, scan that. Takes you right to the website. TEF is the code, and you're going to save 20%. So big thanks to Creatures of Habit. Good people, great product, and we are happy to have them as a friend of the show.
Good
All right.
guts.
Yeah.
No shoe in the dryer.
No. Speaking of which, I made a risky call tonight.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Went
no.
with I like scarfed down some Chipotle,
Uh-oh.
and let's just already. How do I put this? Let's say there's already bullets in the chamber, if you know what I mean. So
This might be a condensed, very fast-speaking episode.
a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
Let's just say it has nothing to do with the tactical games.
No,
Oh, this is a tactical game you're playing, but
I'm taking a tactical risk. Is what I'm doing here.
Oh my God.
Okay. Not to bring the mood down here, but there are some things we have to talk about, a couple of serious things. And the first thing we want to lead off with is the horrible, it's more than unfortunate, the horrible news that came out of the Cholula Games that happened. And this is an article May 3rd from Barbell Spin. This is where they did a good job of kind of summarizing what happened. But it was Friday, May 2nd. Nayeli Clemente was competing on a team at the Cholula Games, the CrossFit license event. and I'm quoting for the article here, but during event one, an event that ended with a team pyramid run, Clemente experienced a medical emergency that resulted in cardiorespiratory failure. According to a statement released by Clemente's team, event organizers did not have medical personnel in place to respond quickly. A doctor who was spectating was able to assist before medical personnel got to the scene. So I won't go into the rest of it, but that's what happened. I guess the competition went on because she was taken to the hospital, and then it was later revealed that she had passed away. Uh, there's a lot, wasn't there, didn't see what happened. Reading from the barbell spin there, they have a really good summary if you want to check it out. But I think the lesson is here, and we had Josh Hicks on the show a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
is that if you are running any kind of event, take safety seriously. Call Hicks, reach out to him. He will speak to you for free. He will help you out however he can. Uh, this is I don't know what else to say other than that. Don't like it's one of those things where you got to have it because and you hope to God that you're never going to need it. But when you do
Mhm.
need it, if you have a good plan and you have put the right people in place, things can be prevented. So
Yeah.
please, if you're running any kind of event, reach out to Hicks, pick his brain. He will help
He's
you
so accessible too.
And free resources on safety for an event at like I mean top to bottom of
out. Mhm.
running an event from people who have experience writing risk management plans, leading teams at these live events has never been more accessible.
Yeah.
And you don't want situations like that to have to be the wake up call for people. This is certainly isn't an indictment on the event or the situation because I don't know the extenuating circumstances of it, so I'm not going to
Right.
make a judgment. But I do know that there are free resources out for events and event organizers that they can increase the response times, the safety, and the infrastructure of your event from a safety standpoint, and it doesn't cost you a dime. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's what at Pro Medic Hicks. I think if you look him up on Instagram, just
Shoot him a
reach out.
DM.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's someone who's doing a lot of great work in the space, trying to keep people safe, trying to help as many events out as he possibly can.
yep,
But obviously, our hearts go out to the family of that athlete and the friends and everybody who was part of that. So please take safety seriously. Talk to Hicks. Really, all I wanted to say about that, but just felt like we had to address it.
for sure, for sure.
Okay, we're gonna get the bad stuff out of the way first, and then we're gonna move on to more of the good stuff. So Rob Orlando, who is what is that all about? Is as OG as they come, put this on Instagram. It was a picture of him in a hospital bed. And he wrote, "Life can change in an instant. Mine took a major detour just 3 months before my 50th birthday, and just one day after I set a personal best on the powerlifting total. On Sunday, January 19th, I squatted 550, benched 370, and deadlifted 605, totaling 1,525 pounds. The next day, on January 20th, I was officially diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in my lower jaw and lymph nodes in my neck. I've dedicated my entire life to healthy living, and somehow I managed to get an aggressive cancer, which required an equally aggressive treatment plan. On February 13th, at a body weight of 217 pounds, I walked into the cancer center at Yale and underwent a 13-hour surgery carried out by a team of 4 specialists. A large section of my lower jaw was removed, bone from my fibula harvested and grafted into my mouth, along with a few different skin grafts to cover it all up. 6 days later, I was rolled out of the hospital and convalesce at home. Damn. Uh,
Yeah.
so there's more there on the post. Uh, he's starting to get back to seeing some physical activities, trying to recover. All the best to Rob Orlando. That got fantastic human being. He was a guy that would spend a lot of time at HQ back in the day doing some
Mhm.
stuff. And one of my fondest memories of Rob was when I think they did. So we at the old HQ building in Scotts Valley, California, we shared it with some other companies, who
Yep.
all hated us for various reasons. But it was like a sonic imaging place, so they had some pretty precise instruments. So Rob down in the gym had people doing heavy stone grace, and all you heard for like
Oh my
15
god.
minutes was just these stones hitting the floor. And apparently somebody came down from the from one of the other businesses and just like threw open the gym door and just started reading Rob the Riot Act in the middle of the thing. And he kind of went, whatever, and just kind of kept going. So
Move on.
yeah, Rob,
Oh,
like I said, OG as they come.
he
And
was doing strength stuff before
yeah,
strength stuff was cool. I mean, he was doing his hybrid athletics crew, combining strongman, powerlifting, weightlifting, into the CrossFit regimen in a way that was super unique. I mean, you go back to 2010, he was a popular pick to win the games in
mm-hmm,
2010 because of some of the things that he was doing. 2010, he at the Northeast Regional, I believe, they did a 3 rep max clean and jerk, won it going away, 300 by 3, 15 years ago. Like before
yeah,
people were
that stuff
putting up
was
those kinds of
unheard of back then.
unheard of. And, he was doing, everyone's doing like, there's heavy Isabel right now and semifinals. He was doing that kind of stuff 10, 12, 13 years ago. Grace at 225, Grace at 315, like crazy, crazy stuff. I would say my favorite Robbo memory is 2011 games. He didn't finish the swim,
Yeah,
and he got DQ'd from the swim, but they allowed him to finish the day of competition out before cutting him. You can go back and find it. It's on Rogue Fitness has it posted their day at the games for day one of the 2011. I think I actually make a cameo in that briefly. Um, but he basically knew that he was cut and this was his last event. And it was the rope clean ladder
mhm,
where it finished with a clean and jerk at 225, which is crazy to think because that was the heavy bar back then.
yeah,
Today would probably open with that. You
mhm,
do 5 at 225, no problem. And people were struggling with it. And he just goes, I'm going to give him a show. Goes out and finishes the first jerk and lowers it back, goes again, goes again, goes again, reps out 4, much to the delight of the crowd, gave him a little something to chew on, and bowed out gracefully, from being DQ'd from the weekend. And that was like just Rob, right? Like he wanted to have some fun. He wanted to do cool stuff. He wanted to push his limits. And I think his strength feats inspired a lot of people to pick up a barbell
yeah.
and try strongman for the first time.
I remember I was in the crowd when he did that. That was my first games attending as a fan, and he was like down to my left. And yeah, and that was before those were days before he had to cross the finish line. There were no
Hmm.
lanes, so they were keeping time on the watches. So that was a cool event. So all the best to Rob. Wish him a really speedy recovery. Great dude, and hope to see him back
Hey,
100%
6
soon.
weeks after surgery, he's back squatted 500 pounds.
Yeah, that was crazy.
He's just an animal.
Uh,
Casual.
All the best to him, man. He's a good dude.
yeah, and by the way, just a shout out to whatever genius figured out that you can take bone from a fibula and shove it in someone's jaw and make it work. Like who that's just a whole nother level of intellect that I find baffling. So thank you for those
Stay in
people.
school, study
Thanks for-
Thank
science,
you,
kids.
science.
Yes. All right. That's the let's put the bad stuff behind us now. Let's move forward and then just talk about fun stuff that's going on.
Hmm.
In affiliate semifinals are done. And I'm gonna
Done.
Dunn's doing a lot of work in that sentence. Done in quotes because we still have
Done for the athletes.
the review process and then we'll find out. But if you go to the CrossFit Games website, games.crossfit.com, you check out the leaderboard. They do have, the top 11 men and women on there right now. A lot of familiar names you would expect to be there. And we will now see if these scores hold up. Because there were some, correct me if I'm wrong, there were some tweaks that were made to the video review process to try and make it more precise. Like
More involved.
people have to make comment. You have to have comments on things so you can kind of narrow down what you're looking at. So
Is
we'll
it
see that.
public? Like if you vote, is your vote public?
I'm not sure. Let me
I,
just,
I don't think it says who is behind the vote.
Yeah.
so if you just click on, I'm looking at Ariel Lowen's semifinal workout 1, right? So the number of votes are public. There's 41 good and 2 need review. So and
Okay.
I'd love to know what those 2 people are looking at when, now whether or not there's something behind the scenes there that you can figure that out, then that's that remains to be seen. But review process, and again, I wish that CrossFit wouldn't put deadlines on review processes, and I understand kind of why they need to, because athletes need to know if they need to take another swing at this thing. but it's important to get this right because right now it's like Grace Walton for the women sits in 11th place, so she'd be the last woman in. Amy Kringle's only 2 points back.
Yeah, and honestly, like if everything starts adjusting, like
Mm-hmm.
when you apply penalties and other people factor in between them and other athletes, you also introduce more athletes into the fold whose scores affect the leaderboard that also need to be checked.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, even behind that, like Cara Milligan's 5 points back of Grace,
Mhm.
and she's not the only person that's close right there because 1 point ahead of Grace is Haley and Danielle. So any score adjustment for most of these would result in any one of them missing out on the games, and it's I've been on the ground here in Indianapolis and talking to a lot of these athletes, and there's for the ones that are comfortably in a spot and they feel like they've maybe qualified, there's a sense of relief of like, oh God, this would clear up my calendar so much, and I would not have to worry about this,
Mm-hmm.
and I can focus on other things. But at the same time, it's like there's always that looming thing of like, are we going to have a situation like 2022 where it was like hundreds of score corrections are coming, which if they're needed, so be it, right? Like if that's what's needed to actually like govern this accordingly, great. But you just don't know until the final words say leaderboard locked, whether it's legit, more legit like the age group, or if they clearly just didn't watch all the videos or hand out penalties like in the team leaderboard. So
Well, that's the one that's the head scratcher to me is that there was not a single score adjustment on the team side, not a one, right?
and there's videos all over the place of people like clearly not hitting the standard. So
Okay.
it's
Uh,
just yeah.
go ahead, Lauren.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, when hold on, I was on the men's side of the leaderboard. Just looking there, I think that there's a couple of interesting storylines. Enrico Zenoni, who has been an up and comer out of Europe, breaking through to unofficially make his rookie debut. He's been doing the French French European semifinals for a couple of years. He was at the French Throwdown, and I know he's just been building in, like, taking it more seriously and dialing it in between getting a coach and, teaming himself up with other athletes in Europe to boost his training, so I think that's cool to see him. And then on the opposite side of things, Yonakoski right at the cut line
Yeah.
again, which, Tommy, you'll be able to see him at World Fitness Project this weekend, but also the same weekend as the French Throwdown, which is the European semifinal again. So it's like, will he get a last chance qualifier ticket to go to the games? Will he miss out again? Those are at least for the men, those are two interesting storylines
Yeah.
that I
Quick
see
quick
from the leaderboard.
quick note. Enrico Zanoni has made the games before. A few years
Yeah.
ago a few years ago he made it out of um Lowlands Throwdown. He was the last spot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but
Enrico.
yeah, but
Sanctional time, right?
huh?
Is that sanctional time or is that when it was a semifinal?
No, that was one of the semifinals. That was 2022, I believe. But
Anytime
he
I see
was
that guy's
good.
name, I think about Enrico Palazzo from The Naked Gun. It's Enrico Palazzo.
So,
Well, regardless, if you've ever met him, he's also a super happy person, really fun to talk to, very
yeah,
vivacious, and,
Mm.
you know,
Sings a hell
he's
of a
great.
national
So
anthem.
good for him. Going again.
in Italian.
Yeah.
Um, the but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people south of the cut line, right? Like Yona, Chris Ibarra's right there, Jack Rosema, Quan Royer, the
Blonde.
Sams, Quant, Nick Matthew. I mean, Bill Leahy. Um, I mean, you go down BKG,
BKG.
Spencer Panchik, Fabian Benito, Bailey Martin. There's a lot, Travis Mayer, a ton of athletes that are below that cut line that are, generally considered in the mix for this. So, there are North American semifinals coming. There is last chance qualifier. There is more semifinals globally coming, but
Mhm.
For the women, do
I,
you guys know who Syria Meha is?
I don't. That's the first time I've seen her name. Now I know there's other people who pay
Second.
extra attention to
she,
worldwide. Yeah, but I'm definitely interested to find out more about her. That's incredible.
yeah, she's done some competing in out in Europe and overseas, and I've had some conversations with people, with Brian and a few who have seen him compete quite a bit. And this would be, I would say this finish is more of an outlier compared to her live event performances historically. That's not to say she
Spot check a video there.
isn't incredibly fit, but
Ooh. So look at the individual semifinal workout too. 12 good, 10 needs review.
okay, that's 2.
Yeah, interesting. That's the workout 2 for her. I just spot checked one. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
Yeah, all unofficial.
But look, Annika Greer, just I hope that sticks. Did you
me
see
too.
guys see the post that she had where she actually posted on
Yeah.
social media the reaction? Like, talk about heartbreak last year.
Oh,
Just
I know.
such a
I mean,
good kid. Like,
Bonnie.
so happy that this looks like it's going to happen for her. And I hope for her sake it does, because I don't want to even think about the alternative. But congratulations to her.
yeah, it's heartbreak every year. It's been like that for the larger part of 7, 8 years since she was in the teenage divisions.
Yeah.
Even the year that she technically qualified, it was the year that the teenage divisions got canceled.
Yep.
So
Haley Adams right
it's
there in 9th. Good job, Haley.
yeah. So I mean, interesting. Miriam von Rohr just outside. Even like last year, she obviously wins the Open, but was like a little outclassed, in live competition. But this one seems like a little step up. Maybe just the online environment's a little bit better for her and some
Yeah.
of the adjustments in her training. But yeah, I mean, you go down Lexi Neely, Sarah Kaya, Sarah Sigmundsson at 32nd. That's pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah. Strong finish from her. I mean, Rebecca Fuselier, Sydney Wells, Paige Semenza, like
Yeah.
a lot of people that are pretty decently far. But I will say this, I do think, and this, I don't want to make this our transition into it, but I will say that the stress of not making the games isn't weighing as heavy on some athletes, I would say, because particularly the ones that are a part of WFP.
Yeah, I think I can see why.
It's just like I get to compete.
Yep.
And I get to have my ranking aggregated over the course of 21 plus workouts or whatever it is. They're calling it, and I get guaranteed live competition opportunities, sponsors, my travel's paid for, all this cool stuff. It's for the signed pros particularly, but yeah, which is cool. So while it may be surprising to see some of these names lower, some of the athletes just don't seem as worried, I guess.
Yeah, and I think for all the reasons that you mentioned, plus the fact that the prize purse isn't what it has been in the past this year at the games either. So, okay, moving on, and after we do this, then we're going to get to the World Fitness Project, because I think we're going to spend a lot of time on that also, because not only because it's important, but because Tommy's there. But how about this? Catherine Davis' daughter and Brooks Lake are expecting.
By the time this comes out, we will also know the gender, because
gonna find out.
they're doing a post tomorrow or
Yeah.
today, wherever you're listening.
Any bets? I'm going girl.
What's your guess, Lauren?
Oh God. Oh boy.
Oh, split.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have to recuse myself from this vote.
Oh, you know.
Oh, you know.
Oh man, lucky. But congratulations to them. Just 2 amazing people.
They're going to be great parents.
Catherine's going to be on the podcast.
I was chatting with them when they were checking into the hotel today earlier, and was congratulating him and everything like that. And it's funny, like I was on a Zoom call with her for one of our production meetings a while ago, and I had Miles on my lap, and he like kind of cooed, and he was just off camera, and she perked up, and she was like, "Is that your boy?" And I was like, "Yeah," and I pulled him up, and she like her reaction was immediately like,
You knew.
And it's funny because I was talking with my wife, and she was like, "Oh, how did the meeting go?" And I'm like, "Oh, great, talking to Katrin, Annie, like Katrin was really sweet, Annie was really sweet," and I was like, Kat was really excited to see him, and like he made a couple coups, and she was all stoked, and she kind of like head twist too, it's like your sensors start to go off a little bit of like, is that someone that's either like mentally getting ready or like is in that frame of mind? You know, like I noticed myself gravitating towards like when if I saw friends or people that had small kids, like just chatting with them, kind of like information gleaning and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Let me tell you what, just you can save all the money on the testing. Just go find yourself an elderly Hispanic woman and she will tell you exactly what you're having. I swear to God, every Hispanic woman that we ran into while my wife was pregnant looked at her and said, "Boy." They batted 1,000.
Wow.
I don't know what it is. It was crazy. What is it?
Yeah,
I
Tommy, can you
What is
confirm?
it's the magic. What can Brown what UPS baby? What can Brown do for you?
Oh my.
It was uncanny though, Tommy. They were all like every single one of them said the same thing. I was like, "What the?" And they were right. So
We had a few of them happen. Our you know
really,
you know rest her soul. My grandma isn't alive, but she probably would have been
yeah,
ven acá,
sure.
mijo. And
Aw.
we'd walk over. She probably would have.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. It was like Yoda tuning into the Force, and they just, boy, okay,
And they just kind of waddle off
yeah,
into the ether of
right, and just start levitating
Mexican
things with their mind,
into the ether of abuelitas.
know.
But
Oh man, but anyway, congratulations to the two of them. I will never forget. There was one year at the was it 2022? I can't something didn't go right for me at the like just I don't know what it was. I was in a weird mood. And it was in between events. I was sitting in the stands at the Coliseum in Madison, and Brooks was there, and he came up to me and he just like could not have been nicer, said some uh really nice things to me, like really cool things to me, and it immediately just turned my mood around. Like that guy is such a great human being. He's going to be a fantastic father. So all the best to Catherine and Brooks, and looking forward
Both
to
sweet
seeing out.
people.
Yeah, what the Gen